Night had a sound. It was the clatter of sandals on marble, the distant cry of sentries, the muffled weeping of citizens behind heavy wooden doors. On an August night in the year 410, Rome did not simply sleep, it listened. A lantern swung in the darkness. Shadows slipped between columns in the forum. Smoke drifted through torchlit streets that had not known foreign boots for centuries. The Visigoths had entered the Eternal City. They did not come as creatures of myth. They came as soldiers, men who had once fought under Roman command, men who had bled for emperors who would not remember them. Their king was Alaric. He did not march on Rome for spectacle. He marched for settlement, for payment long delayed, for dignity long denied. Yet to the Romans watching from shuttered balconies, none of that mattered. Foreign standards stood within the sacred boundary of the city. Temples were opened, treasuries were searched, aristocratic homes were entered. The unthinkable had happened. Rome, invincible Rome, had been breached. The empire did not collapse that night. Administration continued. Emperors still issued decrees. But something older and deeper died. Certainty. For centuries, Rome had believed itself permanent. On this night, permanence cracked. And when permanence cracks, history changes direction. Rome's greatness had not been accidental. It was built on discipline, on law, on adaptation. Early Rome possessed a rare genius. It absorbed its enemies. Citizenship expanded outward. Local elites were incorporated into governance. Roman law became portable, a system that could bind distant provinces to a single political idea. The legions enforced order, but institutions sustained it. As territory expanded from Britain to the Near East, Rome appeared unstoppable. The Mediterranean became a Roman lake. Roads connected continents. Coinage moved across thousands of miles. Ideas traveled faster than armies. Yet, expansion created strain. The larger the empire became, the heavier its machinery grew. And machinery requires maintenance. By the 3rd century, maintenance faltered. Beginning in 235 AD, Rome entered a period of turbulence. Emperors rose and fell in rapid succession. Many ruled for months, some for days. Most died violently. This was the age of the barracks emperors. Legions proclaimed their generals emperor. Rival armies did the same. Civil war became routine. Frontiers weakened while soldiers fought one another. Loyalty became transactional. Power no longer flowed from institutions, it flowed from the sword. Reforms under Diocletian and Constantine attempted to restore order. Administration was reorganized. Military command was separated from civil authority. Bureaucracy expanded. These reforms stabilized the empire, but at a cost. The state became more complex, more expensive, more rigid. The system functioned, but it strained. An empire of Rome's scale required enormous revenue. Armies needed pay. Frontiers required fortification. Roads demanded upkeep. The imperial court consumed wealth. To meet these obligations, emperors debased the currency. Silver coins were alloyed with base metals. Inflation followed. Prices rose. Confidence in money declined. Money is more than metal. It is a promise. When the promise weakens, trust erodes. Tax burdens increased unevenly. The wealthy shielded themselves. The middle strata absorbed the pressure. Small farmers lost land to vast estates. Economic inequality widened. The free peasantry that once formed the backbone of the legions diminished. Rome's strength had relied on broad participation. Now participation narrowed. The Roman army did not collapse in a single defeat. It transformed. Recruitment shifted increasingly toward non-Roman populations. Germanic tribesmen, Goths, and others entered imperial service. Many were disciplined, many were loyal, but identity shifted. The army became less a citizen institution and more a professional force tied to commanders. Generals gained political leverage. Troops pledged loyalty to men rather than to Rome itself. When pay faltered, loyalty faltered. When commanders sought power, soldiers followed. Beyond Rome's borders were organized societies with ambitions of their own. Goths, Vandals, Franks, Burgundians. These were not chaotic masses. They negotiated treaties. They sought land. They sought recognition. Then, in the late 4th century, a new force emerged. The Huns. Moving westward from the Eurasian steppe, they displaced entire populations. The Goths, pressured by this advance, sought refuge within Roman territory.
Rome had long absorbed outsiders as federates. Allies settled within imperial lands in exchange for military service. But effective absorption required discipline and fairness. Corrupt officials exploited Gothic refugees. Supplies were mismanaged. Abuse provoked rebellion. In 378, at the Battle of Adrianople, a Roman emperor fell. The myth of invincibility fractured. Rome could be defeated in open battle. That knowledge lingered. Administrative reforms divided governance between East and West. The eastern provinces were wealthier, more urban, more defensible. The West was poorer, more rural, more vulnerable. Over time, resources accumulated in Constantinople. The Western Empire struggled. In Ravenna, surrounded by marshes, Emperor Honorius governed from relative safety. But distance from Rome weakened symbolic authority. Power removed from its historic center often loses emotional weight. One of the last capable Western generals was Flavius Stilicho. He understood both Roman and barbarian worlds. He balanced negotiation with military defense. But political intrigue consumed him. In 408, he was executed. His removal destabilized frontier diplomacy. Short-term suspicion replaced long-term strategy. The Western Empire lost a mediator, and mediation was precisely what it needed. Alaric had once served Rome. He sought land for his people within imperial territory. He requested payment promised for military service. He sought official recognition. Negotiations stalled. Court politics intervened. Promises dissolved. Twice he besieged Rome. Ransom was paid. Yet durable settlement never materialized. By 410, frustration hardened into action. The gates opened. For 3 days, the Visigoths occupied the city. Churches were largely spared. Clergy negotiated protection. Destruction was selective, not indiscriminate. Yet symbolism mattered more than statistics. For 8 centuries, Rome had projected permanence. Its monuments signaled eternity. Now smoke drifted above its skyline. Aristocrats fled. Treasures changed hands. Whispers spread across the Mediterranean. If Rome could fall, what could stand? Letters from the period revealed disbelief. The idea of Rome as eternal had structured identity. Citizenship meant belonging to the center of order. Now order seemed conditional. Local leaders adapted. Bishops assumed civic roles once held by magistrates. Military commanders negotiated regional stability. Roman law blended with Germanic custom. The transformation was gradual, but irreversible. The Western Empire staggered forward for decades. Imperial titles persisted. Authority thinned. In 476, the last Western emperor was deposed. The event marked formal closure, but the real shift had begun earlier. 410 shattered the illusion. After that, fragmentation accelerated. Yet Rome did not vanish. Its language endured. Its legal traditions shaped kingdoms. Its church structure unified regions. The Eastern Empire survived another 1,000 years. Rome fell, But Rome also transformed. The fall of Rome was not caused by one invasion. It was accumulation, political instability, economic strain, military transformation, external migration pressure, corruption, inequality, broken promises, institutions strained beyond capacity. When legitimacy weakens, loyalty weakens. When loyalty weakens, cohesion fractures. Marble can endure centuries. Trust cannot. At dawn after the sack, the Forum stood quiet. Smoke thinned in the morning air. Survivors stepped cautiously into streets that felt unfamiliar. Rome still stood, but it stood differently. The illusion of eternity had dissolved. Empires are not immortal. They are maintained, or they are neglected. They endure through justice and stewardship. When governance serves only power, decline begins. The night the Visigoths entered Rome was not merely an invasion. It was revelation. Revelation that permanence is fragile. Revelation that strength without care erodes. Revelation that even the greatest civilization can hollow from within. Rome's fall was not an ending. It was a transformation, from empire to memory, from certainty to adaptation, from marble dominance to layered inheritance. The lamps burned lower in the Forum that morning, and as the city breathed changed air, a new world, uncertain, fractured, resilient, began to take shape.